All right, have and have not fans. Now, the big question is whether or not Candace will have access to the funds that were transferred to her account by intercepting Oscar and the account numbers. But I'm really wondering, I believe, and as some fans actually pointed it out in the comment section of my review video, that the Crier Company was the name of the account that Candace had Veronica call Lloyd the banker to set up on her behalf in exchange for the address for David's new house. Now, when Oscar pulled up the computer, basically, he had the car out in the front of the hotel to take him to the computer store when it opened up at 9 o'clock the next morning. So he gets the computer, goes back to the hotel, opens it up, clicks some keys, and sees that the money is still in the account. God, I could be confused here. Now, we know that Candace doesn't have access to the funds because she's on the phone in the next episode saying like, well, it's over $8 million. Why can't I have access to it? Wait, federal? So I'm guessing the IRS or something like that is looking into the account. I mean, when you think about it, I guess that makes sense because that is a large lump sum of money. Not to mention, I believe that Oscar said that he had to get the funds. It was more difficult than expected because Wyatt had it in an offshore account. So I'm not exactly familiar with how the bank system works with things like of that nature. But I mean, when Oscar opened up a computer and saw the money was still in the account, I guess that makes sense. I could be wrong. I mean, I feel like I'm confusing myself with this, but the way I thought it was like, okay, he opens the computer, he sees the money in the account, exactly the same amount where it was. All right, then we have Candace having issues accessing the money, even though she got that message saying that the deposit was made. We saw that on her phone when she was chewing out Gia. But I'm wondering if Jim gets home to his computer, looks at the accounts, and then sees the money there. If the money's there, Oscar gets his check, which I find ironic because it'll be pretty funny if Jim cuts him the check, but by the time Oscar goes to cash it, it bounces because there's no money in the account, meaning that Candace was successful in taking the funds. Or you could say that Jim goes to home, opens the accounts, and then sees there's nothing in his personal account. Because remember, these are Jim's account numbers, not Catherine's. Catherine made the transfers of money to Jim's account. I think it was $10 million. I think that's when Jim made her activate all his cards and put the money back in his accounts again. So the money that was taken, which again makes no sense because if Jim had $10 million in his account, Oscar had the information on his computer, which Rocky took a photo of and sent to Candace. We know that Wyatt has no money in his account. So the money that Candace has coming to the Crier Company, that should be Wyatt's inheritance money, not the $10 million that's already in Jim's account. So theoretically speaking, Jim himself should still have his money in his account, but the transfer that got intercepted was the money from Wyatt's account, if you follow me on that one. Maybe things will change once Candace gets on the phone with the bank the next episode. We'll just have to wait and see. But I do feel like it is really strange that much money is disappearing without anybody asking any questions. Because remember that Catherine was notified by Lloyd that $7.4 million was taken out of their account back in season 3 when Candace extorted that much money from Jim Crier. I believe that she made Jim get on the phone to call Lloyd and tell him like, yes, I approve the $7.4 million transfer. And then that information got relayed back to Catherine. So with Jim's account losing $10 million, I think that he will be notified of that in the next episode. So I guess it's safe to say that the money that Candace has in her account, the $8+ million, that's what's left of Wyatt's inheritance. So Jim should still have money in his account. He wouldn't pay Oscar if he didn't see the transaction of $8+ million because they would know that's how much was in Wyatt's inheritance and what was left. Now the question is, If this transaction is intercepted and Jim finds out the money wasn't put in his account, then Oscar would say, wait, it's the Crier Company. It's in your account. And Jim's like, what the hell is the Crier Company? And then there might be some big thing with the bank where they'll go talk to Lloyd and try to figure this out. But then you have to remember that Veronica called Lloyd personally to set up the account for Candace. Now, will all of this get shifted back to Veronica? And remember, this would not be a good time for even more bad blood between the Criers and the Harringtons, because all of them need to get together in order to figure out how to get off this Jennifer Salzin murder. So I feel like this is adding more fuel to the fire thanks to Candace. So I guess the big question is, do you think that Candace will have access to her funds soon? Or do you think that this transaction is going to be canceled in some way, shape, or form? And do you think Oscar is going to get paid? I don't think he is, though. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And please let me know if I was off in any of my dialogue, because even though I have the notes here in front of me, it is confusing to kind of say these things out loud, because Crier Company, Jim Crier's account, the amount from Wyatt's inheritance. At least we know this for sure. Wyatt's account is empty. We do know that much due to the fact that he wasn't able to take anything out of the ATM. Jim's account is still in question. When Oscar pulled up the computer to get the files, he saw the amount there. So we'll just have to wait and see. For all we know, he probably thinks the Crier Company is Jim's account. So unbeknownst to Oscar, he's in the right that the money is there. But when Jim goes home to his account, he'll see that the money from Wyatt's inheritance isn't in his account, in addition with the $10 million that Catherine put in there. So we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and we'll talk soon.